Welcome back to another episode of What Are You Made Of with your boy Mike C-Roc. I am in the house with a new friend of mine that I met on Clubhouse through another friend of mine who's been on the podcast before, Miss Laura Wild. And today's guest, guys, is Prince Daniels Jr. He's a former NFL running back turned high-performance mentor, author, and entrepreneur. He lives by the mantra, nothing is impossible unless you truly believe it is. His personal story is one of determination and true-to-life testimony that anything is possible. This guy played at Georgia Tech. He played for the Ravens, and now he uses meditation, which we'll talk about today as well, because I had some experience with some meditation last week in Arizona when I took a trip to Scottsdale. But anyway, from an athlete who realized his dreams of playing in the NFL and going on to live a thriving and purpose-driven life, Daniel's message is nothing short of inspirational. And you have a book out as well. I believe it's called Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete, Mastering the Balance Between Power and Peace. So Prince, welcome to the What Are You Made Of show, man.
Oh man, thank you for having me, Mike, man. I appreciate this platform, man. I appreciate you, man.
Nah, I got to tell you, well, let me ask you, what are you made of first? Like I always do, because I don't want to get off of that. And then I got to tell you a quick story. So Prince, right. I'll ask you that question we do every time, man. What are you made of?
Man, such a vague and open question. I'll say, I'm made of light. I'm made of light and high energy.
I love it.
Yes,
All right, so light and high energy. So this interview is going to go off of that. But I got to tell you, I believe in believing before you see it. I believe in intention statements. I believe in making a commitment to something, going after it, and seeing it fulfilled. And the wildest thing, I've been working with Richie Dolan, who's a performance coach, and he's worked with the likes of LeBron James, the Miami Heat, the Lakers. And he's one of my favorite guys. He's now, I call him a friend, and I work with him now myself personally, and to better myself. And I told Richie, I said, man, I want to be like you when I grow up. I want to work with high profile celebrities, business people, athletes, and teach them the rocket fuel law, and proactively teach them the rocket fuel law. And all of a sudden, after I said that, I had no idea. I didn't know a lot of people in the industry whatsoever, in sports, like just didn't. All of a sudden, after I made that intention and committed to it and believed that it was possible, all of a sudden these people start coming into my life. It's just a weird manifestation. And I think I say it's weird because I didn't believe it before, maybe. And then now I start practicing it and I see it. So what are your thoughts on that, man? How have you experienced that?
Man, I mean, when people tell me that it reminds me or lets me know that they are in the vortex, they are connected with them higher selves, and words are very powerful, and our intention is very powerful as well. So when we speak that into existence, like it's happening, but it sometimes it just takes for us to be able to either we sit and we become aware and from being still, or we just become aware because our mind has been desiring this is looking for a certain thing. So when you say something like, I want to win, and you keep saying that you want to win, at some point in time, it has to crystallize in the physical form, and you have to become aware that I'm winning. And it's because you've been saying that over and over again, and you believe that. And once you believe it, then you, see it. And then once you see it, you become it. And that's what happens. And so when you were talking to the coach, you were telling him, like, man, this is what I want to do. So you spoke it to existence, and then afterwards you start seeing it, and then eventually you're going to become it. And when you become it, you're going to be like, yo, this is, you're going to tell someone else, and they're going to be like, man, this is weird. I'm not sure if it's real. But like, look, I didn't see it as well, but I'm seeing it now. So.
Yeah, now you came from that world. So, I want to be the guy. Like, so I started thinking really, really crazy. Over the last couple of years, everything's opened up for me. My mind is just expanded so much. And I want to be the person that people are like, man, I cannot live without C-Roc. I need him in my camp because he is a part of my success. Like when he's around me, we don't just win championships. I do better. Like that's the kind of concept that I'm going to, I see in my head. And I don't know how close I can get to it, but I want to think that big. Like right. Richie's got, he love talking to me. He doesn't like to brag. So, but he's got 3 NBA championship rings and he's not a player. He's
Right.
not a sports coach, like as far as the X's and O's.
Correct.
But like he did that. So I'm like, man, well, how can I top Richie? It's the kind of thing. Anyway, I want you to tell your story, man, because the thing that got me, man, when we were in the clubhouse room and we're talking about the story about, going and walking on at Georgia Tech, man. And,
Yeah.
and tell it like you did, man. Tell it like you did in the clubhouse room. And this, you can use language, whatever you need, but you said some powerful stuff. So if you could tell us that story.
Yeah, man. Man, just it was a I'll say this. When I was in high school, I was a big superstar, and it seemed like it happened overnight. But I was a very hard worker. I was always putting in the hard work, stay after practice longer, get some extra reps in, and just really just be the best version of myself when I was young. And so I had all of these scholarship offers, man, but I didn't do well on the standardized test, and so that made all those schools, take away those scholarships that were offered to me. So I had Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, Tulane, Stanford. Who else did we have? We had Colgate, Brown. We had some of the Ivy League schools as well. And man, when I didn't do well on the standardized tests, it was just like, whoa, wow, what's next? Right. So
What were your measurements? How tall and what did you weigh and all that?
I think I was at the time I was like 5'10". I think I was like 5'10" at the time. I only grew like a inch and a half after that.
And how much did you weigh? Like 190?
I was like 190.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
Okay.
190.
And fast? What
Um,
was your fast 40 time?
my fastest 40 time in high school was a 4.4, like it was like a 4.47.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I was close to. I had a 4.6 one time, that's about all
That's
I had.
good.
I'm 5'7" and I'm 5'7", 5'6" and 3/4, and I was like 185 in college football. So
Hey man, that's good. Like in the combine, the NFL combine, I ran a 4.6. I ran a 4.6. No, I ran a 4.57. I ran a 4.57, and I didn't really catch my speed or understand my speed until I got to the NFL, where I started running a 4.2 in the NFL.
man.
And yeah, and we can go into that later, but so man, I'm at so I get this opportunity, right? So, well, one, I go to North Texas. They try to offer me a scholarship. And man, I went there, and there was the very first time that I ever had a drink in my life. So they had me drink some alcohol. It's supposed to be a party time. Man, the one thing I cannot stand is regurgitating. So I'll never forget, I yacked everywhere, and the room was spinning. And I was just like, man, God, if you get me out of this, I'll never do this shit again. And so I never did. And that was at 17. So that's what helped me make my decision to not want to go to Georgia.
You never drank again after that?
No, man. Maybe I had a sip of wine,
Yeah,
but
but oh man, I said that same thing, but I didn't listen to myself.
no, man. I listened to myself.
Oh
It's
man.
certain things that are not for you, and I knew what wasn't for me, and that wasn't it. And so I turned down the offer from North Texas, and I did not know what was my next move. And so coincidentally, one of the coaches from Georgia Tech, it was Georgia Tech first year recruiting at my school, and they were recruiting another player, a defensive player. And my coach told him about me. He was just like, man, we got this gym, man. He fell underneath the radar because he didn't do well on the ACT, SAT, but he passed it, so he's good and he's smart. My coach said, if you take a chance on him, I promise you won't regret it. So the coach was just like, well, let me see him then. And well, he's like, let me see some film on him. He saw one play on me. I ran over somebody. No, I jumped over my fullback after he threw a nice block for me. And then who I think his name Chuck Anderson. I want to give a shout out to Chuck. I jumped over Chuck, and then after that, I ran a guy over. Then I took the ball 80 yards to the house. And so he was like, all right, I don't want to see any more. Let me meet the kid. And when he came to meet me, I was at track practice, and I was doing a handstand from the ground up into I was on the ground. So I was like, I was in crow pose, and I go into a handstand, and I start walking on my hands. And he was like, yo, who are you, man? Just like PJ Daniels. And so he came and spoke to me and told me like, hey, your coach told me about you, man. I want to take a chance with you. So they flew me out on an unofficial visit. Had a chance to talk to the coaches. They said if I do well on and off the field, that I'll be able to get a scholarship at Georgia Tech. And man, you know, it didn't really go like that. But I did get accepted into Georgia Tech. They told me to apply for school and see if I get in. I applied. I got into Georgia Tech. And so kind of like the rest was history, man. So from there, being a walk-on at a D1 school, a top program, ACC, you know, it's not glitz and glamour, man. And I had to work my ass off. But I had 6 other running backs in front of me. And I'll never forget it, man. My coach, he had told me at the time, it wasn't the head coach, it was the offensive coordinator, but he told me that I wasn't good enough and that my chances of playing at Georgia Tech are 1 in a million. My chances of playing in the NFL are 1 in a billion. And I'll never forget it. This was like doing spring practice. It was like right after the spring game, we had to have like an exit interview with our coaches. And, you know, he told me, he was like, you suck, man. You fucking suck. I was just like, dang, like, what did I do to you? You know, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. And he was just like, you're too mechanical. You're not what we're looking for. He's like, you're number 7 on the depth chart. He was just like, you know, like the chances of playing at G Tech are 1 in a million. And if you plan on going to the NFL, it's 1 in a billion. Like, you fucking suck. Like, get the fuck out of my office. And, you know, he left his door wide open so everybody could hear it. And some of my teammates, they were lined up outside, and, you know, they were there, and they you know, they kind of, it's like, it's cool, P. And I was like, please don't touch me. Don't nobody touch me. Right. And
That was
so
the offensive coordinator that said that?
yeah,
Okay,
that was the
okay.
offensive coordinator. Yeah. So, you know, he was coaching in the league, coached for the Houston Texans. Yeah, he coached for the Houston. I'm not trying to stir up no controversy or anything, but, you know, recently, and he's not there anymore, you know, but I'll say I'll thank him.
Was it start with a B and an O?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so, you know, he just told me, he's like, you're not my favorite, man, and, you know, shit.
No, but hold on. You told me this story before, and I didn't ask you this though. Do you think possibly it was a psychological tactic that he was using just to
no,
on, or he was
no.
just being
Yeah, he was just being a dick. I mean, that's just his MO. You know, that's what he does. I mean, as you can see, it happened when they let go of one of the best wide receivers in the league. And they let him go, and he went to another. You know, just like, come on, man, like, come on, really. And that's why Deshaun Watson wants to leave. You know, because of all the hypocrisy and everything that's going on in politics. But anyway, that's another conversation. So, man, from there, you know, from that moment, man, I went outside, and I remember sitting at the bus stop. And again, it's spring break, right? So the bus, it's an extra 15 minutes longer. So the bus came every 30 minutes. I'm sitting at the bus stop. The campus is desolate. I'm waiting on the bus, and I got my head down. I'm like, what the fuck just happened to me? I'm 19 years old. I'm trying to figure out, like, why. I looked up in the sky. I was just like, why, God? What did I do wrong, right? Because usually, if you do something wrong to someone, then they have a valid reason to treating you, you know, like shit, right? And so, man, he basically, you know, trying to berate me right in front of everybody else. And so, I'm at the bus stop, and I remember one of the coaches, he drove by. He's like, "Pete, keep your head up, man. He said, you got what everybody else doesn't have." And I was like, "What's that, coach?" He's like, "You got heart." He's like, and nobody can duplicate your heart and your energy. And so he drove by, and I was just like, man, this is some BS. I was just like, you know what? F this. And so I stood up. I remember I had like 3 textbooks in my backpack, man. And the reason why, it wasn't because I was studying the textbooks. It was because I think I was trying to sell them back or something. I was trying to get rid of those textbooks. I think I dropped those classes anyway. And I remember just strapping my backpack, and I said to myself, I'm not gonna let nobody take my fucking dream. It's my dream. So I got up, and I just took off running to the other side of campus, which was probably like 1.5 to 2 miles away from the athletic center. And I ran nonstop with tears streaming down my face. Got to my room, threw it on my backpack, put on my workout clothes, and I went outside, and I worked out in the 1996 Olympic volleyball sand pit, because that's where they had the Olympics That's what they held the Olympics in 1996. I worked out for probably 3 hours, and I worked out until I passed out. I got up. I was weary. My body was shaking, man. I got to the top of the stairs. We lived on the third floor. I got to the third floor. I walked into the room. I remember looking at some greasy ass pizza that my roommates bought, and they gave me two slices. I ate that. I was supposed to do my homework. I was too tired. Man, I went to sleep. We had workouts the next day, I think at 5:30. No, at 5:30. So I woke up at 4 the next morning. I started doing sit-ups. I did a little bit of my homework, and then I put my workout clothes on and I took off running to the other side of campus. And I did this for the next 3 months. And I never forget, my teammates used to be like, that everybody would carpool, and they'll all be in the car, they'll stop, be like, yo, Pete, get in, man. I was like, I would look at them and be like, no, I'm good. I was like, somebody told me that I suck. I was like, I'm good, y'all. And I would run to practice. Run to the weights, and then after weights, we would lift all the weights. We tired. I take off running again to the other side of campus, not giving a flying fuck about what anybody thought about me, what anybody said. I just knew that somebody had told me that I sucked and I would not ever be anything at Georgia Tech. My chances are 1 in a million. So I said, if my chances are 1 in a million, then guess what? That means I have a chance. And, from there, man, C-Roc, I was relentless. I would not stop. So if I was too mechanical, I made sure I worked on my mechanics. If I wasn't fast enough, I made sure I worked on my speed. And if I wasn't, whatever else, I make sure that I worked on that, man. And the next year, all the pieces fell into place, man. Those other players that got injured or they fell out of school, something happened, or they got hurt during the season, and I was just only the strong survive, and I was there ready.
On your sophomore year, was it?
It was my sophomore year, my redshirt sophomore year, man. And from there I was ready. I was like, let's go. And got an opportunity to play on special teams. That's how I started. And what actually allowed for me to get a scholarship was on special teams. I was only on kickoff return, and so on kickoff return, the guys usually run back and they build the wall, right? And we hold hands and then going, and not me. when the defenders came running down the field, I was just like, fuck it. I started running towards the defender. I was like, that's who I got right there. And I was just like, it's me or you. I don't give a. I was like, but I'm about to knock your ass out. And so, that's what I would do.
Coach was cool with that, though, instead of going back and doing it.
He had to be cool with it, because I would knock people out.
Oh, okay,
like literally,
okay.
like they would pull a stretch out and be like, "Yo, come and get him." I would be calling the refs and their trainers like, "Come and get him, come and get him," And like after I knock him out, I just just
I love that.
man. And so from there, that role grew into me returning kicks, and I ended up returning kicks because our return guy, he got injured. So I'm back there like, oh shit, they kicking the ball to me. My coach told me that they would, so they kicked the ball to me, and I ran a 56-yard touchdown. Not touchdown, 56-yard return. Somebody horse collared me, but if they wouldn't have horse collared me, I would have scored a touchdown, man. So from that, I got a lot of recognition. Shout out to my man Wes Durham. He's a radio guy. He put the pressure on the head coach at the time, Chan Gailey. He was just like, who is this PJ Daniels? It's like, he's a walk-on. Like, why does he have a scholarship? He needs to be on scholarship like today. And so they put me on scholarship the next week, man. And, the rest was history. And I broke some records at Georgia Tech, NCAA record for the most rushing yards in a bowl game. And it's all about, persistence, and then believing in yourself, because I know nobody believed in me, because, on paper, it looks like shit, you really do have a 1 in a million chance. But, I was just like, I don't give a shit about that. To me, it's about faith. It's about, believing in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, then other people start believing in you. And I had that one thing that others had been looking for. There was that insurmountable faith, like just never give up, like just keep going, like don't stop. Like they said it's over for them, not for you. Like, no, man.
Yeah.
That's
where did that come from? Where did that faith come from?
You know, I want to say it came from my dad, man. My dad is from another country, from Ghana, Africa, and so and I didn't grow up with my dad, man. The first part of my life, I grew up with him. The second part of my life, like from my teen years and on, and it's just in my DNA. You know, my older brother, he would always tell me, he was just like, man, you just different. He was my half brother, but my older brother, he's like, you just different, man. He's like, you know, he said, man, I used to run on the track. You know, when we was at the YMCA when we was little, he said I used to run on the track, and by the time I got around the second lap, I'm gas. He said I used to see you on your fourth lap, just be like, just with a smile on your face, just running. He's like, he said, oh yeah, he different, you know. And
Yeah.
so I don't know, it was just something inside of me, man. I just always wanted to be I just never want to give up, and I had fun pushing myself and going above and beyond. It was just something that I was
Yeah.
just like I could do that.
Yeah, and then the confidence that came from once they told you that, and then you started working and seeing some differences, and then being able to get onto special teams and all that, and that confidence grows. Then you're returning kicks, and then you're like, oh man, I got that. I think I got this. I think I got this, and a little bit
Right.
more and more, and then before you know it, you're starting running back.
Started running back for Georgia Tech, and then, you know, at that point, I was trying to figure out like, okay, I'm the starter, so like, is, aren't I supposed to do something like magnificent, like, you know, run people over, then run past them, and you know, and I like, how do you become the starter? And you know, it was that I still had that walk on mentality. You know, now that I'm the starter, like walk on mentality. But then, um, uh, luckily, and this happens to me a lot. I had a dream the night before we played a big game, played against Florida State, and we had never beat them in like the past 10 years. And I just felt like this was the year we was going to beat them, and we didn't beat them, but the game was close. The game, the score of the game was 13-14, right? But I scored a touchdown, and I had a dream the night before that I was going to score a touchdown and I was going to dive into the end zone, and it happened. And that was a you know, that was another time I went to the zone, and
I
I just
love it.
remember
I
I was
love it.
just like, I got to score a touchdown, and I ended up scoring a touchdown, man. And you know, from there, I was just like, I'm the starting running back. See, we ended up losing, but I got player of the game. I got Chevrolet player of the game. They was just like, whoever this PJ Daniels kid is, they was like, Georgia Tech just got them a gem. They got them a
Yeah,
running back.
yeah.
This dude is here to stay. And
So
from
so
there, yeah.
so then when you went into the NFL, and when you came out of football, what's the transition like? What went through your mind when you left football for the final time and thought, oh man, now I got the real world in front of me as far as like the job world or the business world or whatever. Like what can you talk about that transition there? What went through your mind then?
Yeah, man, that was a tough transition for me because I didn't get a chance to leave on my own terms. You know, I had so much left in the tank, man. I had so much rocket fuel left over, you know, and it wasn't no rocket that I could put it in because that platform was gone. So my NFL career was cut short due to injuries, and so, you know, it just led to, you know, like being super hard on myself, and which led to a depression, and then, you know, try to commit suicide, man, because I identified with something for so long, and then all of a sudden now you're taught to or told to go and do something else, find your new identity, you know, learn something new. I know you've been deprived of all of these other skills that probably your peers, your counterparts have learned. You know, you've been deprived of it, and so when I had to hang up the cleats, man, I was distraught. I was in a bad place, and so you know, just even trying to think about how to survive afterwards, I really didn't have all of the skills there because my mom was fixated on what happened in the past, which formulated into a depression, right? Depression, the root of depression is something that happened in the past and that you're constantly thinking about. And I was constantly thinking about that, man. And so I just felt like it would be better off for me to not be in the world and just commit suicide and just end my life. And luckily, I had an opportunity to go spend time at a monastery with monks, and I had a chance to rehabilitate myself, man. And from there, I just made a promise to myself that I'll never let any other athlete go through this or any other high achiever go through this, because this is, high achievers have the same mindset as athletes, doctors, lawyers, top 1%ers of the world, like even yourself, man, we have that same mindset, so there's no difference. And I just promised myself that I would never let anybody go through that, because I knew how hard it was for me. And as I mentioned, I had a safety net, had an opportunity to go to a monastery, and
Where was that? Where was that?
it was in the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas, man, and spent some significant amount of time there trying to get myself together, just battling with my own thoughts. But after I was able to get past that, man, like a lot of things became clear to me, and from there, I just knew that I could make an impact with my energy, with my story, with my testimonial, with my presence, and so now I help professional athletes. I help high achievers, make sure that they avoid that pitfall.
Yeah, man. You see, when what I've found in my past when I was anxious and depressed is because I was looking at what the present and the past, like you said, and I didn't have a purpose to look forward to. Once I
Mm-hmm.
found that purpose, that's
Yeah.
when the launch took place, man. And I can't be stopped. Like there's a fire that lit, and like you feel like that, right? I mean, that's what comes
Right.
about. And I didn't go to a monastery, but I just learned from other people, I guess, that have been through that,
Yeah.
and implemented it. And I probably have still some work to do, but I mean, it's just a fabulous feeling. So anybody that's listening to this, if you're dealing with anxiety and depression, I understand there's maybe some things that are medically that need to be addressed medically, but take a look and see what you're focusing on. I mean, if you're focusing on the past and the present instead of looking forward to the future and creating a purpose for yourself, man, it's something that you'll like. It's like a never ending source of energy, right?
Right.
So right now, that's what you're doing now? You're working with athletes. Is that your
Yeah.
main?
Working with high achievers and athletes. Yeah. That's my main thing. I wrote the book Mindfulness for the Ultimate Athlete. So I have a course for them, where, I make sure that they unlock their peak performance, because as you mentioned, like it seems like that fuel, it never runs out, right? But sometimes we feel like there's a part of us that hasn't been unleashed, and we have so much more potential that we haven't tapped into. And I help people tap into that because I've been able to find it myself. And so I teach and I speak from experience, man. Just like, oh, okay, oh, that's what you're dealing with. Okay, oh, that's simple. Yeah, just tweak this, and you're good to go. And
Yep, yep.
people are like, what? Like, no, man, how is that possible? I'm just like, well, I mean, all I'm doing is directing you in the right direction. You are the one that has to do the work. And so when people, do the work, I tell them like this only works if you put in the work. And so when they put in the work, they come back to me and they're just like, I saw it all, bro. I saw it all. Like, tell me more. Just like, okay, well, what else do you want to know?
I
And
love it, man. Yeah, and then
take
they
it
come
from there.
find you, and then they
Right.
share that message with someone else because you made them feel good,
Right.
right? Talk about meditation. Last week I was in Scottsdale at Steve Sims Speakeasy, and I got the opportunity to meet this awesome dude. His name was Jason Campbell, and he
Mhm.
creates meditation music,
Nice.
and he's number one on Billboard charts for meditation music. He's a pianist, musician, but he's also I think a fourth degree, maybe even a seventh degree. I don't even know, but something out there, black belt in martial arts. So you get
Nice.
some breathing exercises and meditation with him, some flight or what do they call that?
Fight or flight mode.
Fight or
Yep.
flight breathing
Hmm.
stuff. And
Yep. Yep.
man,
Yep.
it was pretty powerful. So now I'm working on implementing that into my life because I need it. I'm always full go. And I
Right.
feel like I'm like this instead of sometimes I need to be like a little bit of the yin and yang kind of thing. So speak a little bit about meditation, what that's meant for you.
Yeah, man. So it's funny that you say that because my book is the byline is master the balance between power and peace. And so because if we're too powerful, we can be very destructive. And if we're too peaceful, we can be very passive and submissive. And so you want to find that balance between the two. So you have both of them. So that's one. And so the practice of meditation, for anybody that's listening, whatever idea or understanding that you have of meditation, let that shit go. Because a lot of times we are misconstrued by the perception of meditation. But man, meditation is not a religion. It's not a religious substitution. It's not a religious doctrine or philosophy, man. It's a practice. that exists in every single human being all over the world, and it allows for you to tap into a deep level of focus, concentration, awareness, compassion, love, kindness, all of the above, man. And
Immunity building.
immunity building, man. I mean, there are a lot more benefits. I just kind of keep it on the surface level because I don't want to sound too metaphysical and like woo woo. But for the most part, man, it's so many amazing and incredible benefits that meditation plays in your life if you practice it consistently. It starts off as a discipline, and then from a discipline to like, oh, this is a part of me. And once you do it, you become aware of all the things that you ask for. You become aware of all the things that you desire. How you put yourself in certain situations to win, right? To make sure that you have your rocket fuel, so your rocket can take off and shoot for the moon. But if it falls short, it'll land with the stars. So
Yeah.
man, I mean, like it brings you into the present moment, which allows for you to recognize that you are a gift. So that's the reason why you should stay in the present moment as much as you possibly can. And for me, it saved my life, man. And that's why I'm a huge advocate for, when you think about and the way that at first I used to get a lot of resistance, right? When I started doing it, you don't see too many black men practicing meditation, or I mean, and there probably are a lot of them, but it's not like amplified or projected, right? And so I got a lot of resistance, and at one point in time I was just like, dang, if everybody's okay with people with songs or movies doing this and doing that, and if we can accept that in our society, well, I was like, shit. I was like, well, I'm gonna start blasting meditation. I'm gonna make this shit cool, right? And so now, with the COVID-19 pandemic, like everything has been happening organically for me, and I think a lot of people are looking forward to hearing what I'm sharing, and the way that I share this, just straight from the heart, man, as authentic as possible, as raw as possible, just to let you know, like, shit, I was just like you. The only thing that I did, I really worked on something, and I fine-tuned it over and over again. And I started understanding, like, oh, okay, this is how this works. Okay. So I started really understanding the principles of life and how to apply it. And man, I'm just in my flow. I'm in my zone.
Love it, man. I love
Yeah,
it. It's a great place to be too, man. I tell you,
man.
so how often do you meditate?
I meditate every day for 1 hour every morning. Like I get up, like that's my set time. When you read, meditate, work out.
And then some people can just, don't get overwhelmed by the fact that it's an hour that he does. I mean,
Yeah,
start with like even like a couple minutes just doing a breathing exercise, right? That's
yeah,
like just work
yeah.
your way into it.
Yeah, man. Like, don't even start off with a minute. Start off with seconds. Because
Yeah.
life is lived from moment to moment, and in order for you to get to a minute, you got to build that strength up. Like you hear a lot of articles, a lot of people, or a lot of monks saying that people should start off with five or 20. Five to somewhere between 5 to 20 minutes. I'm like, no, like hell no. That's too difficult. That's like telling somebody to go into a gym on the very first day that never lifted weights, and just like, yeah, go ahead and put those 225 on and let them lift that,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
first thing they
yeah.
do it, like, they probably pass gas while they trying to lift the weight, and their eyes pop out, and they're like, shit,
And
what
then they
was
can't move
that?
the next
And then they can't move the
day.
next day. And it's like, hey, I'm gonna see you at the gym. It's like, hell no, I'm not
Yeah,
coming to the gym.
yeah,
So it's the same thing with practicing meditation. Like, start off with 10 seconds, and then let those 10 seconds build up to 40 seconds, 50 seconds, 60 seconds. And then when you get to 60 seconds, what's that? That equates to 1 minute. And so now you got 1 minute underneath your belt where you've learned how to actually sit still and be focused, or sit still and observe your breathing, right? And then from there, it can go on to 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and so forth, man. But take steps, and everything that we do, it's about taking steps.
yeah. I love it. Well, man, first of all, I want to thank you for coming on the show, PJ. I appreciate you, man. Sharing with my audience. It's great knowledge and great information, great experience. And before I ask you the final question about rocket fuel, how can my audience engage with you? Where's the best place for them to see you?
Man, you can go to my website, www.princedanielsjr.com. And all my social media handles are on there. I want to just name them all, but you can catch me on Instagram. I'm usually there the most. And you know, I met you on
On
Clubhouse, man.
Clubhouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, right. And so you can go there, but if you just want to go directly there, you can go to Prince ADJR. Yeah, Prince ADJR. And plus I got a podcast on Apple
What's that?
podcast and Spotify. So I have one called the Prince Daniels Jr. Show. That's mine. I'm gonna have to get you on there.
Let's go.
And let's do it, right. And then I got another one called Game Beyond the Game, where I help professional athletes transition out of the game into life and help them find their vision and their purpose and create the mindset to be able to carry out their vision and their purpose.
Love it,
So,
man. So you know about rocket fuel. So what does the rocket fuel law mean to you, and what has it meant to you in your life in a sentence or two?
man, rocket fuel for me. So I kind of consider myself an alchemist, right? So when it comes to rocket fuel, man, it's taking every single experience that you have in your life and you use it to fuel you so you can shoot up, you know, in the air. I'll leave you with this. Like I always tell people that a lot of times, um, you know, we're so we're so used to being on ground level, right? And so whenever we're trying to do something, we're trying to go forward, we're trying to go backwards or left or right. And when we get stuck, that's the only direction that we can only think of, right? But the one thing that I realize is that whenever you go within yourself, you go up, and that's your rocket fuel. You know, going within, you go up, and when you go up, man, like your vantage point changes. You start seeing things and seeing everything different. Like you rise up 30,000 feet above ground, and when you look at the ground now, it looks completely different. You know, so
Yeah, and the people are tiny and the problems are tiny.
right,
Yep, yep,
exactly,
yep,
man.
yep. I love it. I love it. Hey, PJ, listen, man. I consider you a friend now, man, and I appreciate you coming on the show. And I'd love to be on your show, be honored. And so, thank you so much, man.
C-Roc, let's make that happen, man. I appreciate you, man. Hey, you have to be my friend if you call me PJ, man, because you know.
Yeah, because you said started saying PJ, so I said, I'll just call him PJ, just like C-Roc, right?
Right.
Hey, so I appreciate you, man. Guys, you've been listening to the What Are You Made Of show with our friend Prince Daniels Jr., or as I call him, PJ. You guys have been wonderful supporters of my show. I just want to thank you. Go subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. If you want to watch these, go onto YouTube at Mike C-Roc Ciorrocco. Go get that Rocket Fuel book, MikeCroc.com/book. Until next time, guys, be unstoppable.
Peace.